laying a herringbone pattern, or any other masonry pattern for that matter, requires a great deal of diligence. And do not fail to do your diligence as you're setting your pattern, or you can go really, really sideways like we did with this. And then you wind up having to reset pavers, which is what's going to happen with this pattern. So the way we set this is we got our first 2 rows here set so that their corners were where we wanted them along our pink string line that we set. And then we worked that way and we worked that way. But what we failed to do was to measure. Like, you've got to measure. Once you get your first couple of rows down, we needed to measure from our pink string line to that row of corners, for example. And then we'd get another line down and we needed to measure from that row of corners over to the pink string line to make sure that we were getting everything in straight. We didn't do that, and so I'll show you what has happened with this. So from the pink string line over to the corner of this paver is 40.5 inches to that corner right there. If we go over here to this paver, which is in the same line of pavers, and measure, we get 41 inches to that corner from the pink string line over there. So you can see how we've measured these 2 points. And so from that you can tell that along this line of corners we are basically walking over. This point is farther from the pink string line than that point is. And so as we go down the line, then things would become even worse. I didn't measure that point out there, but it's probably something like 42 or maybe 43. And then as we continue to go on, it's going to get further and further from the pink string line. And that's because basically it's exponents. Anytime you have an issue, there beginning on the line, that issue will grow exponentially down the line and get worse and worse and worse, which means that this line of pavers is going to get more and more off to the right, because we weren't watching carefully and making sure that we always had it the same distance from the pink string line. So, and then we made a second problem. So what we should have done is taken this row and just carried it all the way out to the end. But instead what we did was we thought, oh my gosh, wait, we've really got to get our pattern going in here as well. And so we started a pattern here and figured that we would be able to bring, the 2 patterns together and have them meet up properly. They didn't. And you can see that right in here, there's a variation in the pattern where we've got 2 blocks going the same direction at a time, which is out of pattern. We did that to try to get these 2 patterns to meet up because they were off from each other. And then we made another faux pas, and I'll show it to you here. So as we started setting this pattern out here, we started again at the pink string line. And so look at where this corner is from the pink string line, right? And then keep going. If you've got less and less and less. Oh, and now we're into a whole different line of pavers. So you can see then that this line of pavers that we've got going, it's going off in this direction. It's going off to the right. So it's not running parallel or straight. It's basically running crooked. And so now we've got a straight pattern on that side trying to meet up with a crooked pattern from this side. And what all of that has created is another exponential situation with joints. So you can see how tightly I've got these joints set here. These are Rumblestone mini pavers by Pavestone. Set nice and tight. I've actually pounded those into place with a rubber mallet. But as we get over here where we're trying to meet these two patterns up, all of a sudden I have like these big gaps between these pavers, and the gaps are exponential as well. So we've got that gap there, and then it gets a little bigger, and then it gets a little bigger. Oh, and then it's really pretty big there. That's an issue of exponents as well. And the problem is that as I continue now out towards this direction, these gaps keep getting bigger and bigger. And there's not going to be a way to fix it. So the pattern's just going to get more and more off as I go out to the edges. You know what that means, kids? It means we're going to be doing some paver resetting. Really disappointing, really challenging. You know, it's an entire day of work here to get all of this set. And so we're losing that whole day, because we weren't diligent enough in ensuring that our pattern was straight every single course. Going off the pink string line, you measure and you measure and you measure, and you make sure that, you know, every single course is going to be straight and square. If you don't do that, you're dead meat, kids.